In the aftermath of horrific crimes, we often overlook the silent sufferers, the families left behind. Families of criminals face a unique torment. Their flesh and blood, someone they loved and nurtured, stands accused of the unthinkable. The world sees a monster, but they see glimpses of the child they raised, a child now forever linked to darkness. Their lives become a whirlwind of confusion, disbelief, and agonizing guilt. The public, hungry for answers and eager to assign blame, often points fingers at the family. Their grief becomes a public spectacle, dissected and judged in hushed tones and internet forums. The weight of societal judgment, coupled with the unimaginable pain of knowing their loved one is responsible for so much suffering, creates a perfect storm of psychological trauma. The case of Bryan Kohberger, accused of brutally murdering 4 University of Idaho students, offers a chilling glimpse into this harrowing experience. The Kohberger family's world imploded. Their son, a figure of pride and aspiration, transformed into an alleged monster. News cameras camped outside their home, their faces plastered across television screens. Friends and neighbors recoiled, whispers following them like shadows. The life they knew, the normalcy they cherished, vanished. Social media became a breeding ground for speculation and judgment. Amateur detectives dissected their family history, searching for clues, for any hint of something that could explain the unexplainable. The family, reeling from the shock and grappling with their own grief and confusion, became collateral damage in the public's quest for answers. The psychological toll on the Kohberger family is immeasurable. Their grief is not their own. It is shared, analyzed, and often met with suspicion and condemnation. The Kohberger family's ordeal underscores the harsh reality faced by families of accused criminals. They are judged, scrutinized, and often deemed guilty by association. The court of public opinion is swift and unforgiving, offering little room for nuance or understanding. The presumption of innocence, a cornerstone of our legal system, seems to vanish when it comes to the families of those accused. Friends and neighbors, once sources of comfort and support, may retreat, unsure how to navigate the unsettling reality of the situation. The family's every move is analyzed, every word scrutinized for clues. The families of criminals are often haunted by guilt and shame, emotions as powerful as they are destructive. They may blame themselves, questioning their parenting, their choices, their ability to truly know their child. The thought that they could have somehow prevented the tragedy becomes a relentless tormentor. Some family members may withdraw, consumed by self-recrimination. Others may lash out, their anger a shield against the overwhelming pain. Still others may try to rationalize their loved one's actions, desperately clinging to the belief that there must be another explanation. The family may feel like pariahs, marked by the stigma of their loved one's actions. They may avoid social situations, fearing judgment in whispers. The shame can become a heavy cloak, suffocating their ability to function, to heal, to move forward. In the case of Bryan Kohberger, the public grappled with the stark contrast between the alleged crimes and the image of the seemingly bright young man pursuing a PhD. News reports painted a picture of a quiet, studious individual, someone who blended in, not someone capable of such horrific violence. This dissonance fueled speculation and fueled the public's desire to understand what could have led to such a drastic transformation. Some experts pointed to Kohberger's studies in criminology, questioning whether his fascination with criminal behavior somehow morphed into a dark obsession. Others speculated about potential mental health issues, searching for any sign of a break from reality. The public, hungry for answers, latched onto these theories, attempting to reconcile the image of the clean-cut student with the alleged brutality of his crimes. However, it is crucial to remember that speculation is not evidence. Attributing Kohberger's alleged actions solely to his academic pursuits or potential mental health struggles risks oversimplifying a complex issue. In the wake of such tragedies, the question of what if haunts everyone involved, especially the families. They retrace their steps, searching for missed signals, for any indication that something was amiss. Did they overlook warning signs? Were there red flags that in hindsight seem glaringly obvious? This agonizing self-reflection is a natural part of the grieving process, but it can also be incredibly damaging. It is important to remember that even the most attentive and loving families can miss subtle changes in behavior. Mental health issues, especially in young adults, can manifest in subtle ways, often masked by attempts to appear normal. The Kohberger case, like many others, highlights the challenges of identifying and addressing mental health issues. It underscores the need for open communication within families, for creating safe spaces where individuals feel comfortable discussing their struggles. Understanding the criminal mind, nature versus nurture. The question of what drives an individual to commit heinous acts has plagued humankind for centuries. Is it an inherent predisposition, a darkness embedded in their DNA? Or is it the product of their environment, a toxic cocktail of upbringing, experiences, and societal influences? Some point to genetic factors, highlighting studies that suggest a link between certain genes and aggressive or antisocial behavior. Others emphasize the crucial role of environment, pointing to the devastating impact of childhood trauma, abuse, neglect, and exposure to violence. The reality is likely a complex interplay of both nature and nurture. Genetic predispositions may increase an individual's vulnerability to certain behaviors, but environmental factors can either mitigate or exacerbate those vulnerabilities. The Kohberger family, like many families of accused criminals, faces a unique and isolating form of grief. They grieve the loss of the life they knew, the shattered dreams for their son, and the life that was stolen from the victims and their families. Their grief is compounded by the public scrutiny, the judgment, and the constant reminders of their son's alleged crimes. Friends and neighbors may distance themselves, unsure how to navigate the situation. The family may withdraw, fearing judgment and seeking refuge from the relentless media attention. This isolation can exacerbate their pain, leaving them feeling alone and unsupported as they grapple with the unimaginable. The stigma associated with their son's alleged actions can be suffocating. They may feel like they are constantly being watched, judged, and found wanting. The shame and guilt can be overwhelming, leading to feelings of worthlessness and despair. The journey toward healing for families of criminals is long and arduous. There is no roadmap, no set timeline, no guarantee of reaching a destination free from pain. It is a process fraught with setbacks, emotional landmines, and the constant weight of societal judgment. The first step is often acknowledging the pain, both their own and the pain inflicted on the victims and their families. This acknowledgement requires immense courage and a willingness to confront uncomfortable truths. Forgiveness, both for themselves and for their loved one, can be a complex and deeply personal part of the healing process. It does not mean condoning the crime, but rather releasing the grip of anger, resentment, and bitterness. Rebuilding their lives requires immense strength and resilience. It means finding ways to cope with the trauma, the grief, and the constant reminders of their loved one's actions. The impact of a crime extends far beyond the immediate victims and their families. It creates ripples that reach outward, touching the lives of countless others, including the families of the perpetrators. The families of criminals are forever linked to the crimes of their loved ones, their lives irrevocably altered by the actions of another. The stigma associated with having a family member incarcerated can have long-lasting consequences. It can affect employment opportunities, relationships, and even their sense of safety and belonging in their communities. The constant fear of judgment and rejection can be isolating, making it challenging to rebuild their lives and move forward. The experience can also have a profound impact on future generations. Children of criminals may struggle with feelings of shame, anger, and confusion,